Legendary actor Paul Newman once said, if there truly is a heaven on earth, it must be VIR. For the first time in its half-century history, this truly glorious ribbon of racing real estate hosts the most prestigious event in amateur motorsports, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs.
On a beautiful Virginia morning, welcome to live streaming coverage of the 56th Annual SCCA National Championship Runoffs, coverage presented by Mazda. Hello everyone, I'm Ryan Marine, Larry McLeod alongside. We'll have Hayward Wagner patrolling the pits for us here today as the Prototype 1 category is on tap. They will be racing for a national championship. Just one previous national champion in the field in this class here this year, Larry, as we get ready for this championship race, and he's buried a bit deep in the field. This is nothing new to him, however.
Yeah, that's Jim Davenport. He is our defending champ, but he's in the only Honda, so that's right now the Mazdas have got the pace, they've got the top speeds. So Slusher way out in front right now, qualifying nearly 8/10 up on the entire field, but behind him, Chip Romer, Todd Vanacore, Daryl Schaff, and John McAleer are all really close. Davenport's just at the tail end of that group, as he'll be starting, I believe it's outside row 3. Last year, did the same thing. I think he started around 4th last year and managed to move up, kind of played the long game, and that was successful for him. This year, he's got to really keep the pace, and you can see him there in that shot, running that a little wider car, a little taller car than some of these, the Alans in the Mazda power plant, that Norma, a little bit bigger bodied. So he may be trying to use a little bit of draft down the straightaways, trying to keep up with that top speed. 6
different chassis are in this P1 field, but it's dominated by the Elan DPO2. They swept the top 5, but that's qualifying speed. We know that the Norma is quick over the course of a race distance.
Yeah, we do. And obviously Davenport kind of knows what he's doing in this pack. Not only did he win last year, he also won back in 2016. Sports car, they seem to think he's pretty good as they picked him in this one as well. So we'll have to really keep our eye on him if he can maintain pace with those Elans in front of him, but hold off the folks behind him because there's more Elans behind him as well as a store. The win first with the Kohler power plant, which I can't wait to hear that thing rolling down the front straight. So it's going to be a battle up and down. It's actually a very tight P1 field.
You mentioned our pole sitter, Todd Slusher. It is his second career Tire Rack Pole Award in the SCCA runoffs, and it was a dominant performance over 3 days of qualifying. His best lap was about 8/10 of a second clear of second place. So that sends a message to this field of 16 competitors that he's going to be one to contend with as he looks for his first career runoffs medal.
So he from first qualifying Tuesday, set the top time. That time would still be sitting on pole if that's what he stood on, but he went another about 5 or 6/10 faster than that over the course of the next 2 days. He was on pole last year in Sonoma, got tangled up a little bit. In fact, with Davenport, at the opening laps, he got pulled back. They got tangled, and he went off, never finished. He's looking for redemption.
Let's get down to the third member of our broadcast team, Hayward Wagner.
Guys, Prototype 1 is all about creativity. These are high aero, high power, lightweight cars, very, very fast. The story today is One Motorsport. They have the cars on the front row. They've done the most work. They've been really pushing all year long to take this. The other story is tires. Goodyear has established themselves as a dominant tire in this class. The first 5 cars of the grid are on those tires. The difference is One Motorsports went to them first. They have the most comfort with this tire. But what's the real story here in grid? The real story is that in Prototype 1, this is the rules enforcer. Everything's just a little bit flexible in this class.
Well done. Thank you very much, Hayward. And it is interesting, the diversity in this field. It extends beyond just the chassis and engines down to tires as well. There is quite a bit of choice available.
There is. He mentioned the first 5 on Goodyears. I believe actually it is the first 6, as Davenport this year has switched over to the Goodyear. So that puts all 3 front rows on Goodyears.
Let's talk about this VIR circuit, 3.27 miles. They're running the full course layout here. Amazingly, this is the first time VIR has hosted the runoffs, and my only question is what took so long? It's a beautiful venue, great location, and the competitors all seem to love it as well.
Absolutely picturesque. just rolling through the hills. Every shot you're going to see on TV has got a pile of trees in the background and just grassy fields. A little more brown right now than what we had back in the spring for the Majors race here. It was really wet that weekend, and so very, very different conditions. Some of these drivers were out here for that. Even some of the West Coast guys towed in to get a shot at this place because there hasn't been a whole lot of certainly no runoffs here before. So some of them wanted to get a shot, and that seemed to be paying off in their pace.
Yeah, let's talk about that event here in April. It kind of varied depending on who I spoke to. Did we learn something? Did we not? The rain certainly had an effect on competitors' abilities to, if they haven't been to this track before, really take anything that they could apply to this week. But the good news is there is a considerable amount of track time for competitors on race week. So even if they don't have a ton of track experience, there's time to catch up, and the good ones tend to.
And the prototype classes, I think that's what you saw when they were on track from first practice on Friday last weekend all the way through the weekend. So they definitely took advantage of that. A lot of these cars, these were not the typical cars that would go out and do one flyer in qualifying and then park it. These were the cars that would run the full sessions and get that data.
Field starting to make its way out onto the course. It'll be behind the Camaro pace car, which is sporting a special livery this weekend, celebrating the diamond anniversary of the SCCA. 75 years for the club, and this is the 56th annual National Championship Runoffs. Let's take you through the field and our starting order here with Todd Slusher alongside Chip Romer on the front row. Slusher coming from Las Vegas, Nevada. Chip Romer from Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Todd Vanacore will start third. Daryl Schaff alongside. Fifth and sixth, John McAleer and Jim Davenport. Again, top five all in the Elan DP02 Mazda configuration. Davenport, the first non-Elan Mazda. He's in the Norma with a Honda engine, and again, he is the defending national champion in this class. Jason Miller from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin will start seventh with Jean-Luc Liverato alongside. That's a win first Kohler alongside an Elan DP02 Mazda. Then the store of Greg Bell. Gary Crook will start 10th in his Elan. Glenn Cooper and Doug Piner make up the next row, 11th and 12th respectively. And finally, Jim Downing, the legend. We'll speak more about him as we go along. And Keith Carter completing the field in an Elan and the store respectively.
Yeah, I'm going to see how this race plays out. As Hayward mentioned, you've got the One Motorsports team in the front with Slusher and Romer. See if they try to gap the field a little bit, or if Slusher is in fact that much faster, is if maybe Romer can play a little bit of blocker with what's behind him.
This track, it is high speed, that's for sure, and some really fun high speed but twisty sections of this track. Maybe no class exemplifies just the visceral experience of this track than these guys.
They really do, making as much downforce as they can make. Coming through those S's, you've got the lower S's in that shot there. They go under the bridge, and then they head through the uphill S's as they're going through now. And just off to a camera right there are the villas, which is a great shot. I had a chance to kind of view from there. You talk about how picturesque this place is. There's probably no better place to just kind of wake up with a cup of coffee on one of the upper patios from those villas at these S's. It's just unbelievable. And to be able to watch these Prototype 1 cars come through there at the speeds that they'll be screaming through those upper S's.
You mentioned the villas. That is prime real estate, no doubt about it. But maybe the most coveted piece of real estate is Victory Lane at the end of one of these races, a national championship on the line. In many respects, all these drivers' seasons have been geared towards this moment, and they've got 15 laps or 40 minutes. It all boils down to that, which in the context of an entire year doesn't seem like a whole lot.
Everything on the line, as a lot of folks will say, everything before the runoffs is practice. Once you get here, it's all bets off. You got to go. Attention to detail. I saw them polishing aero this morning, cleaning every little bit, getting it all apart. The one thing that we'll have to watch for is there's been a lot of yellows this week in the practice qualifying. These cars, they want to maintain their pace. They want to keep heating the tires. They don't want to be stuck behind a safety car at all. They also want to try and stay off of curbs so you don't start chipping away at those carbon bits. So we'll see if they can keep this one clean and put this right up to the end. But we might have 3 or 4, even 5 cars within a couple seconds at the end of this race.
So once again, Todd Slusher will be starting on the pole. He's your Tire Rack Pole Award winner. Chip Romer alongside row 2, Todd Vanacore and Daryl Schaff here as we get closer to the start of this race. Third row, John McAleer and Jim Davenport is our broadcast throughout the weekend here at the Runoffs is presented by Mazda. Field still under the control of the Camaro pace car, but starting to form up side by side. Tense moments here as we get ready for the Prototype 1 championship race at VIR. The pace car makes that dive to the right into pit lane. It is the 62 of Slusher, the blue car on the inside, the 29 of Romer to his outside. Great alignment from this field as they get ready to take the green flag. 15 laps, 40 minutes. National championship will be decided in that length of time. The green flag is out. Waiting for the field to get the jump, and here we go. Looks like Slusher has the initial edge as they come under the starter stand. They're going to fan out 3 wide a little bit further back. Slusher very defensive going into turn 1, and perhaps a little contact further back as Davenport makes his move.
He was outside row 3, and he's already up to 3rd as he takes that jump down the front straightaway.
You can tell which car is the Norma. It looks decidedly different. The only 2-seat prototype in this field of 14. Locks it up a little bit there, but he is back in a medal position. This is your defending champion with a big jump on the start.
Absolutely showed how he could just take that advantage. Maybe that car's got some low-end torque. He talked yesterday, or one of his crew members, somebody this morning, that does not have a top end, but on a restart or a start situation like that, maybe there's an opportunity. But look at the front two already starting to pull with that One Motorsports with Romer and Slusher now in front.
Yeah, you mentioned the teammates. I think they probably talked through the start. Certainly, it's fair play if one of them gets the jump, but they were going to make sure they got this race started cleanly, and they've done just that. As we take a look a bit further into the field, the 94 is Schaff leading this pack. 15, I think that was 15, maybe it was the 55. At any rate, we'll take a look and see where in the field this is as they make their way around for the first time.
The light blue car, that's the Jason Miller. That's the Kohler Win-First chassis. That Kohler is a 2-stroke, 6-cylinder. If you see the back of that thing, there are just pipes and exhaust galore pouring out the back. It is just glorious.
In that shot just a moment ago, the top two have closed up considerably. You can see the gap was minimal right there at the top of the screen. Slusher and Romer still very close. It's a ways back to Davenport, who's running in that 3rd spot. Around to complete the opening lap, and Slusher does have a bit of a gap. What is that, 5 car lengths or so as they cross the line? We'll see what that translates to, but a nice tow here as Romer closes in under braking.
They are really gapping a little bit down that front straight. And again, as I mentioned, the Honda that Davenport's driving does not necessarily have the pull, but as they get in here through the NASCAR bend, they head in through turn 4 and up the S's. That's where Davenport might be able to pick up a little bit of that. And then right behind him, looks like you got Vanacore and Bell. Bell, who started back in 9th, right now back up to 5th, so that's a great start for him as well.
That is a tremendous start in the 33 machine. So right there, you can see Davenport under pressure right now. He's got Vanacore right behind him. Vanacore started in the 3rd spot, so they swapped there on the opening laps, and Vanacore's not too keen about running outside of the medals, it would appear.
And these cars do have some arrows, so as they go around here through the upper S's, around through South Bend, kind of watch that trailing car and see what kind of a line you can take. And as I mentioned earlier, the power of the Mazda might be a little stronger than the Honda, so coming off of here, maybe see he might set him up for a pass going up to the top of the roller coaster.
This is a long, flat-out section here, and yes, maybe you can get a tow, maybe you can get the jump out of that corner. We'll see. Drop a little bit deeper in the field. That's great to see, just the battling throughout this 14-car P1 field. It's highly competitive no matter where you look as Liverato makes a move around McAleer. Actually, that was McAleer who dropped back a spot.
Yeah, McAleer had started up at 5th, now down to 8th, so he's kind of lost out where you saw that Davenport was one of the movers, as well as Bell.
I think that was the battle for the 8th spot, so give it to Liverato now. McAleer dropping back to 9th. Hope everything is all right with that race car as he's dropped more positions than you would have expected here in the first couple of laps.
Liverato's been in this class a couple of years. He was actually 2nd in Road America 7 years ago, 2012, and look at this 3 wide at 1.
How about that? Somehow they sorted all out. That was Miller poking his nose to the inside. It backed out a little bit, but still side by side in this fight. He's got Bell alongside and finally drops back. This is a section of the track. It's hard to run too wide for too many corners in a row.
Up there as well for Bell, 33, right in front of Miller. You can see as they pan away, and you see the driver pulling away, those pipes sticking out the back of Miller's car, that Kohler power plant.
One of the unique cars in this field, and yes, you have a lot of the Elan DPO2s. They're tried and true. They raced in IMSA Lights for many years. But clearly there's multiple ways of going about this, and I love the diversity in this class. Cars that look visually
set him up
different.
to push him down the inside coming into, well, it used to be the oak tree. It's still the oak tree bend.
Used to have a very iconic oak tree, hence the name, right there at the apex of the corner, which could make for a bit of a challenge sometimes, depending on the time of year. It
when
would
the bits
leave.
of the tree start falling
Exactly.
off, it could make it a little bit slippery, but right now they don't have to worry about that. Now they can just get a nice clean exit with that widened apron as you come off of that turn that they added a couple of years ago. Right up underneath them is Miller.
So that is Bell running in 5th. Miller has moved up to the 6th spot, which I think has dropped Schaff back a position.
Still the pressure there on Davenport, as he's still got Vanacore right underneath them as they go down that front straight. I wonder if at some point Vanacore is going to try and make a move on it. And Slusher and Romer continue to just pull away.
Here's a move to the inside. That is the 6th of Miller. He's working on Bell. So Bell has now dropped 2 spots in the last couple of laps. He was 5th 2 laps ago, dropped to 6th, and now you can see Jason Miller has taken that spot away, and just a moment ago actually moved into the 6th position.
He seems to have good, strong straightaway speed, as we had seen him make the 3 wide going down into 1 of the previous lap. Now makes the pass on this one, as he's got some ground to go now to go and try and catch Schaff out in front of him in that blue car.
Checking in now on the battle up front. It was about a half a second, 0.6 of a second to be precise, the last time by at the line between Slusher and Romer, the 2 teammates. Then 6.7 seconds between 1st and 3rd. That's where the defending champion Davenport runs in his Norma, but to my eyes at least, it looks like our pole sitter Slusher has been able to pull that gap a little bit, but this is the battle right here for that final step of the podium. What do we have, 7 cars in that shot? That's tremendous.
That is amazing. With that Honda just kind of eking on, you can see as he gets down the straightaway, Vanacore just gets closer and closer and closer as they approach the braking zone. How many laps does he want to do this before he's got to try and make a move? Because the 2 leaders are now nearly 7 seconds plus out front.
Davenport has 6 previous runoff starts mentioned. Had that championship at Sonoma. He has a previous runoffs championship as well to go along with a 2nd and a 3rd. That's right. This is his 6th consecutive runoffs appearance. Made sense last year. That was something of a home track for him in Sonoma. This haul was a little bit longer across country from California to get to VIR.
Not really, as people talk about it, not a huge advantage for anybody. Maybe if you're from the North Carolina region, maybe, but here at the prototype category, we've got representation from the 4 corners, and pretty much everybody had driven here before, but it's not anyone's real advantage home track like Sonoma would have been last year.
It's interesting to see he's been able to hold his own on the straightaways. Saw a quote from him in some of the preview articles from Sports Car Magazine saying this car, because it's a bit wider, has that bigger frontal area, creates a bit of extra drag and can struggle for straight line speed, but so far he's been able to hold Vanacore off and hold on to that final step of the podium.
See how much longer he can do that, because now you can see them just stacking up behind, and even Miller now seems to be gaining ground on this. I think that Davenport is just maybe getting a good exit off the 2 tight corners, both coming off a hog pen as well as oak tree, and maybe that's just enough. But at some point, look at Miller right on the back of this foursome now. At some point here, someone's going to have to make a move on Davenport if they want to try and grab that podium spot.
These cars do make some downforce, and there can be some challenges associated with that. Running in
41 of Gary Crook out of Pensacola, Florida, in his Elan.
Gary is the only runoffs rookie in this field, making his first runoffs appearance here. He made 4 Super Tour starts this year, 7 U.S. Majors starts, and did get a win in U.S. Majors competition.
I'm going to keep an eye on will be on Jason Miller, as I believe he's on Hoosiers, where it was, we talked on the onset that the first 3 rows were all in the good years. So Miller's, we see him catching the back of that threesome for that last podium spot. As we've got Glenn Cooper now running in 11th.
Glenn experienced at the runoffs. This is an LSR2 chassis, LSR2 P1.
The only one in the field.
That's right. 10 previous runoffs appearances with the best finish of 4th at Indianapolis in 2017, but that came in the F1000 category, not in P1. but did drive extensively in Formula 1000 and actually has some Star Mazda and Skip Barber Racing Series experience to fall back on as well, the native of Roswell, Georgia. As we go back to this battle for third, it continues to be tight between Davenport and Vanacore here with 5 laps complete.
Not even putting an inch wrong. He's doing everything he can to keep Vanacore behind him, but like I keep saying, Vanacore is going to have to make a move, because behind him, I really think that once Miller's able to get back in front of, I believe, is that Schaff in front of him? Now you've got Liberato also at the tail of this, and you got all 6 of them in that shot.
Yeah, Miller and Schaff have swapped that spot, it looks like. We had Miller up into 5th at the line, and now that has switched back, I think.
Yeah, they have. That's the 94 of Schaff in front of Miller right now.
2 very distinct races on the track right now. First and second covered by 2 seconds. And then third, fourth, fifth, 6th, all within just over 1 second.
I think we're watching Spec Racer 4 Gen 3. It just, you don't see this normally in the prototype category, but you've got 6 cars just nose to tail, led at the front, and you got a 7th one coming up in the tail of this pack. So you got 3rd through 9th, essentially about 3 seconds apart. And there goes the move for Miller. Like I said, down those front straights he seems to have, and he's trying to push off down the inside. Made it stick this time.
That car is quick, so he's able to take that spot back, give Miller the 5th spot. And now Schaff's got his hands full trying to deal with Liverato, and McAleer has snuck into this fight too.
Like I said, I think everyone might be a little bit quicker than Davenport, but Davenport's doing a great job of keeping Vanacore behind him, but just allowing this to come up. Oh, big off there, big slide there. 2 cars that looked like Schaff and maybe Liverato, both going through 5 as they enter the lower S's.
Well, that's a shame. We had a really good battle raging there. I think at least one of the cars escaped without any contact. Hard to tell.
I didn't see contact initially. It looked like Schaff might have just kind of lost the back end.
Here's the replay. I think
real
you're
close.
right. Oh, actually, there was a 3rd car involved too that dropped a wheel.
I think that might have been Schaff. That's now, you can see him in the shot coming up the S's, and it was Liverato. Might have been McAleer was the other one that ended up track left. I believe it was. So here you've got the shot of, I want to say that's Crook, 41, and he's now on the back of Liverato.
Well, Davenport's going to love this.
He does. It helps set behind him. But Miller's right there. In fact, Miller just set the best second sector. His trap speed of 154 miles an hour. He's talking about the straightaway speeds, and that power plant that he's running, that Kohler 2-stroke is really showing its legs going down these straightaways, as he's now right on the back of Vanacore. This battle for 3rd is going to be close to another 8 laps.
Now let's let the timing and scoring cycle through here as Miller makes a move on Vanacore, side by side here and through the opening sequence of corners.
It's tough to stay inside though around there and get any kind of run up towards NASCAR. You can get position, but if somebody else has, I think there's better grip if you run a little bit wide on the exit of that than going towards 2. So I think that's exactly what happened. He was able to get the nose in, but couldn't stick it all the way through.
Well, the hunter becomes the hunted here with Vanacore, who's been putting pressure on Davenport throughout the course of this race, really since the opening lap when Davenport was able to sneak up into that 3rd spot, and now all of a sudden he's going to have to deal with a very hungry driver of that number 6 car, and that's Miller right behind. Look though at this, Vanacore closing in through those S's.
3 different chassis, 3 different power plants for these 3 cars in the shot. You've got of course the Norma with the Honda, the Elan with the Mazda, and then of course you get the Win First chassis with that Kohler 2-stroke. Wildly different power plants. Now I want to see at what point does Miller get tired of this. If he's got the legs to, you can see, Martin, you can visually see how he's gaining on these guys. How much longer will it take for him to try and make a move like going into 1 with both of them in front of him?
And Vanacore's hungry. He has not medaled at a Runoffs before, and that means a great deal. Yeah, you want to win, you want the championship, but anyone who stands on the podium at the Runoffs, that is a special accomplishment. And he's come close. He's finished 5th before back at Daytona, but that was in Spec Racer 4. Nevertheless, he's come tantalizingly close to tasting it, and you could tell he's hungry.
He wants it bad, but he's got to take it away from a perennial champion here in Davenport, who's got 2 wins already in the past, of course, defending champ. He's not going to make this at all easy on Vanacore or Miller. I keep talking about how Miller right now seems to be pushing and pushing, but it's no small feat to get past Davenport right now.
Just past the halfway point, Slusher leads Romer by 4.3 seconds at the SCCA runoffs.
And there's that move.
Janice.
What's up, Doug? Hi, Cheryl. What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was brought to you by Haggerty, for people who love cars.
Just before stepping to break there, you saw it. The position of third place has changed hands as Vanacore finally was able to get his way past Davenport and has since made his escape to the tune of just about 1 second of an advantage. Larry, what did you see?
What I saw is they were going through one. Again, that straightaway speed that Davenport's been handicapped there. Vanacore was able to get the inside, was able to make it stick as they went into NASCAR Bend. And that right now is, you could see already he's pulling away down that back straight, and that has now put Davenport back into Miller as he's coming up on, may even make a pass right here going to the top of the hill.
He's going to try and make that move in that win first Kohler power plant, and he does get it done. Boy, didn't leave a lot of room for Davenport, but that's what it takes. These cars are very close, as we've seen, and he's able to get up into that fourth spot. Miller is going to set sail now and try and chase down Vanacore for the final medal position.
Miller knew that he could not wait another series of corners to get past Davenport. He had to maintain if he wants to have a shot at Vanacore.
And Davenport's not going to roll over. This one's not done yet. He's in the slipstream here as they head down into turn one. He's going to poke his nose to the inside. We'll let you know what happened in a moment. But here is your leader, Todd Slusher, who all of a sudden has really opened that lead up. It was hovering around 2 seconds between Slusher and Chip Romer for much of this race, and it's expanded down to the tune of 8.5 seconds.
And it's been a little bit. Didn't see any kind of major mistake by Romer. I think it's just been about a second a lap he's been pulling away. In fact, as we look at lap times, the previous lap record, any class lap record, was actually held by an Atlantic car. Slusher's now reset that at the race here of 1:43.4. In fact, Romer even put a lap under the old track record, which was a mid-44 for an Atlantic car, and it was around a low 45 for one of these P1s. So Slusher now sitting on the new track record. I think we're going to see a lot of that fall with these cool temps here at the runoffs.
Here's the battle deeper in the field. You're looking at Miller, who comes from some pedigree. Father was a multi-time pole sitter and previous champion at the SCCA runoffs. He's the most experienced driver at the runoffs in this field. It helps that he's from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and of course Road America hosted the runoffs for many years.
And I think he's looking at his chops about next year, but he's got work to do for 5 more laps here if he wants a shot at this podium. But you mentioned about experience, I think 20 previous starts. As they've been developing that power plant for years, you go back when they said, we're going to try something different. They went with the 2-stroke. They were developing a 4-cylinder for a while, and then at some point said, let's go up and make this a 6, and it just screams down the straightaways here.
Chip Romer from Lake Havasu City, Arizona, making his third runoff start. This, if it holds, would be by far his best finish at a runoffs. Finished 8th at Indianapolis in this class in 2017.
These teammates of Slusher out in the lead, Romer in second. They started first and third last year, and neither one of them was able to finish. They're both looking for major redemption from that. As they're right now, they've got a lock on the first 2 spots.
And here you see the Floridian Vanacore, who has been able to move up into that 3rd position right now, challenging for his first medal at the runoffs
Big
as
off
well
there
in his
for
5th
Davenport
appearance.
coming around NASCAR Bend.
And you could tell he's pushing, able to bring it back on safely. That's
Oh, he's back off again on the outside of it.
makes you wonder if there might be something more to it than simply the handling going away. We'll see. Then again, he could have just picked up some dirt. There's plenty of dirt and dust. It's a bit dry around the track despite some rain earlier in the week. Let's have a look at the replay.
He just gets wide, gets outside of that apron, and then once he gets back on, the car still wasn't ready yet. Of course, the tires at that point were just completely covered dirt. Hot tires don't like dirt. But it looks like he's back underway now. No harm done, other than losing a lot of track position to Miller.
Still running in the 5th spot. Well, that was the last time around. We'll see if he lost any more positions there. He did have an 8-second push-in over 6th prior to going off track there. And look at this. Miller has tracked down Vanacore. We've got a battle on our hands with 4 laps to go over the 3rd spot.
The trap speed difference on that last time by was about 8 miles an hour faster for Miller. Jason Miller has definitely got the top end screaming on that Kohler power plant, trying to stay ahead of that Mazda. And down the straightaways. He loses a little bit coming down through 14 through the roller coaster and hog pen, but then he makes it up as they go down that first straight.
The gap was a 1.5 seconds the last time by. It is certainly closer than that here, down to a 0.5 second difference, and visually it's closed even more there in the opening sequence of corners. Vanacore in the red number 19. It's Miller behind in the blue number 6. What a fight they're putting on here. Just 3 laps remaining. Final step of the podium very much in the balance.
Interesting line there as they come off NASCAR to set up for that tighter left. Miller not using any of the gaiters, any of that apron on that. I didn't notice before if he was doing that, but that was a deliberate not going out there. I don't know if maybe he's just trying to protect the under tray of the car.
Todd Vanacore leading the way. Miller right in the tire tracks. Interesting to see how close these cars can run to one another. These are downforce cars, as we were talking about earlier. Closes in very close.
If he
there.
can get a good run off of this, we might be seeing a pass going into 14. And again, not using the gaiters, just like we saw him do back at turn 4.
Could that be something about this specific chassis, maybe being less compliant?
It could be. Maybe he's just saying, you know what, maybe he knows he's fast at straightaways. Don't break the car on one of the gaiters. Let's just make sure, give ourselves a shot, right? And look at this. Here he goes, up into the top of the hill.
He'll take a look to the inside, but Vanacore slams the door shut. He'll stay in that lockstep formation at least for a little while longer, with a couple laps to go now as Slusher has come around across the start-finish line. The gap continuing to grow. Slusher leading Romer at the front by now over 10 seconds. Vanacore in 3rd. Miller, who you're looking at right there, running 4th.
Yeah, real quick, I want to just mention about sitting back in 13th right now is Jim Downing. Started this race in 13th, still running in 13th. He was on pole in Formula V in 1964 in the first ever runoffs at Riverside. Back here this week in the 56th running of the runoffs. Great story there, 5-time IMSA champ. Been around a long time.
IMSA lights, certainly. Camel lights back in the day. That's what he was known for in many respects. And the livery he's running this weekend actually is a throwback to what he used to run in Camel lights in what would have been, the 80s and 90s. Also, everyone in the motorsports community owes Jim Downing a debt of gratitude because he was a big push behind the Hans device, in addition to his brother-in-law.
Yeah, when he had seen some accidents back in the early 80s, said there's got to be a way we can prevent some of this, and started working with the brother-in-law who was helping to develop the actual technology. And now, obviously, anybody at that level now, they're all wearing Hans devices. He has really saved the driver community.
Dr. Robert Hubbard his brother-in-law, who they collaborated on that Hans device project and been one of the big safety innovations of the last couple decades. 2 laps to go as we look at our leaders. Slusher out in front. It's been a tour de force as he comes by to take the white flag. Just one more tour of this 3.27-mile full course here at Virginia International Raceway. Dominant performance from him. We're waiting and waiting, and there you see it, the gap from first to second. His teammate right behind, but it did close in a little bit there.
Just a little bit. I think Romer, though, he knows the gap behind him. Obviously, he doesn't need to push too hard, doesn't need to use any curbs or gators or anything here for both Slusher and Romer. But Miller may have just gone by Vanacore, as I'm seeing on the leaderboard there. We'll see if he's able to make it stick through turn 1. But he may have gotten by him. Did not make it stick, and that's what's been happening. He can get by him in the straightaway, but they go into 1 and can't. They're, again, staying off the gators, trying to protect the car.
Yeah, this is nowhere near done. He had a quote to Sports Car Magazine saying, effectively, reliability is a concern to some degree for Jason Miller and this car, so it's not perhaps all that surprising to see him just making sure the car is still under him there here on the final lap.
I think he's going to get one more chance at this. He's really going to have to get a great run coming off of Oak Tree. We'll see if he uses the gators on that lap to get the run.
And remember, he had the spot at the line the last time by. That's what matters.
Very true. So even behind him, he might be able to get him going down the front straight if he can get a run off a hog pen. Such a tough corner, though.
Tremendous fight here for the 3rd spot.
Using that slipstream. Oh, this is going to be interesting. He clearly has the straightaway speed. We mentioned last time it was about an 8-mile-an-hour difference, and you can see it. Look at him.
In the slipstream, pulls alongside.
That's the side you need to be on to make this pass work.
We'll report back on that in a moment, but up front it is Todd Slusher from Las Vegas, Nevada, takes the checkered flag first, his first career Runoffs National Championship, and it comes at VIR. Romer still running second. Miller still has that spot.
He got the pass. He got it by him. Now can he hold off? He does have the straightaway speed, but there's a little bit of strip seam there. Strip seam for Vanacore.
Drag race to the line here in P1. Final step of the podium belongs to Miller. Able to hold off Vanacore by the thinnest of margins. There's a look at second place Romer. Finished 13 seconds adrift, but a solid run. Those two teammates, Slusher and Romer, really had this field covered.
They did, right from the onset. As soon as they made turn 1, the two of them just went nose to tail. They gapped the field by about 5 seconds, and then Slusher just kept pulling away, and really neither one of them saw anybody for the rest of the entire race. They were just by themselves.
Davenport will settle for 5th, the defending champion, 2-time Runoffs champion.
Made a good first half of this race. He was holding 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and even 8th behind him for a while. Unfortunately got behind one of them, put it in the dirt, got running again, but not able to get any higher back than 5th.
Well, it was interesting when asked about who his closest competitor might be this weekend. Davenport was pretty clear. His quote was, "Slusher has been the man this season." Throughout the course of the Hoosier Super Tour, he's run 10 Super Tour events, 10 U.S. Majors events, racked up the wins, 12 in total across those two platforms. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that he ran up front, his second career Runoffs pole, and converts that into his first medal, and it's the one everyone covets. He's a national champion.
I think the word's going to be redemption for him after what went on at Sonoma last year, where he was on the pole, got tangled up on that second lap, not able to come through, and then going back on the pole this year. I'm sure a little bit of nerves going across start finish with the green flag this morning, but just put his head down, turned his mirrors down, as they say, and just went for it, never looked back, and well-deserved.
Gets that national championship in just his 3rd runoff start. Debuted at Indianapolis with a 6th place finish. Gets it done here in 2019 at VIR in the 56th running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Hayward's down there. He'll talk to our champion in just a moment, and then we'll have a word as well with 2nd and 3rd. There's some great stories up and down this podium. Great fight over 3rd place, and Miller had to get it done strategically. Ultimately got it done.
Great race for Miller, starting back in, I believe it was 7th spot, on the different tire compound, so maybe that's why his race had to come to him a little bit, but Miller well-deserved on the podium.
Go ahead and pull your helmet off if you can.
You see Hayward leaning in there. As soon as Todd's got his helmet off, we'll have a word with our 2019 champion in Prototype 1. What a dominating drive it was. Final margin of victory, 13.2 seconds. Let's go down to Hayward with a word with our champion, Todd Slusher.
Todd Slusher, the guys in the booth think that this might be a bit of a redemption for you. How was this drive?
You know, this was a fantastic drive today. You know, I got to give it up for One Motorsports. I mean, they are one heck of a team. They've been with us all year long and just done a fantastic job. Want a big shout out to the family back home. Big shout out to the guys at Hempstone Farms. I think all the guys are watching today, so appreciate that. And yeah, I'm tired, man. That was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun. Some really good drivers out here. Want to thank SCCA for a fantastic job this year with the runoffs. Everything's just perfect. Very well organized. All the guys, fantastic. All the volunteers, want to thank them. So once again, just a fantastic day, fantastic drive. Had a blast, and I don't know, just thanks to everybody for a great day.
Well, congratulations to you. You get to drive this track one more lap. Enjoy it.
I will. Thank you very much.
Well, you heard from Todd there thanking the team, and it really does take a team effort as we look at the results in P1. Todd Slusher by 13.2 seconds over Chip Romer. Jason Miller gets it done, finishing in the third spot as Todd Vanacore settles for fourth. Your reigning champion, Jim Davenport, in fifth. Greg Bell, Daryl Schaff, Jean-Luc Liverato, Gary Crook, and also Piner there rounding out the top 10 at VIR. What a long haul from Las Vegas for Todd Slusher, but it makes it all worthwhile when you wrap it up with a win.
You hear him thanking his team. He's not just talking to the crew from One Motorsports here on site. He's talking to his family and the team back home, back in Vegas. He's talking about everybody.
Let's go down to Hayward and hear from second and third.
Chip, a little bit lonely at times out there, but that had to be a fun race for you.
It's a great race. Great race, great venue, SCCA, great club.
What does it mean to you to be a part of a 1-2 finish for One Motorsports here?
Oh, unbelievable. We worked really hard this year. So we came out and tested earlier this year. We ran the race earlier at the beginning of the year and paid off.
Well, congratulations to you on the silver. We're going to grab our bronze medal holder. Got a handshake here. Jason, you've been chasing this podium for a while with a pretty unconventional setup. How does it feel to finally bring in a bronze medal here at the Runoffs?
You know, obviously very great. You know, these guys, my crew, my father, everyone works so damn hard. It's really nice when we can, you know, be on the podium. Obviously, we'd like to win, but we're really happy today.
Well, congratulations to you on a great finish here at the Runoffs.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all the support.
Well, a deserving champion for sure, and a couple of happy podium finishers as we take a look at Todd Slusher taking that coveted victory lap with the checkered flag in hand. Quite a race we saw, dominating up front, but a great battle in the mid-pack.
That battle for the bronze was just unbelievable. It started out with Davenport holding that field behind them, but once it started to chip away a little bit, when got by him was Vanacore first to get by him, and then Miller to get by him, and then the battle right up to the very, very last turn between Vanacore and Miller.
Here's the start of the race. It was awfully close for the first several laps. It was a clean race as well, it's worth noting. No full course cautions or anything of that nature, but Slusher there was able to make it clear at the start and make his getaway from there. And here's that battle we were talking about. It just raged from third to eighth.
And you can see even way back there's Miller avoiding those curves, trying to protect that car, and there's that big spin that we had seen. I believe it was McAleer and Liberato involved in that one.
Yeah, that was the one major incident of this race here today, but everyone was able to at least get back going to the point where we didn't have to throw the full course yellows in the pace car route. Did see a couple of those drivers, McAleer included, who was unable to complete the full race distance. And how about this moment here, Jim Davenport pushing hard and just overstepping the boundary slightly.
Great save to be able to keep it on the track. Unfortunately lost the track position, able to bring it home in fifth.
So a tremendous race here at VIR. Congratulations to your national champion in 2019, Todd Slusher.
I probably need new tires.
You do.
What if they sold tires online?
We do. We're TireRack.com.
They could offer lots of tires.
We have so many tires.
And help you find the right tire.
It's called the Tire Decision Guide.
Oh, and they could ship them to a nearby mechanic.
We shipped over 7,000 independent recommended installers.
This is an amazing idea.
Sorry.
TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Experience the reimagined Mazda 3.